Just how many Trump associates did the Obama administration spy on during the 2016 campaign? It would be nice to know that. Sorry, it's redacted. Is there any actual proof that the Russian government directed hacking of the DNC and John Podesta's Gmail account? Well, if there is, that's been redacted too. Or how about this? The report says that the FBI agents who interviewed Mike Flynn didn't believe he was lying. But wait, Mike Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to those agents, and his life was destroyed as the result. He just sold his house to raise money for his legal defense. So what's going on here? Well, we don't know. That information was redacted. Why were all these redactions made? We don't even know that. We asked, no one would tell us. And then there's the FISA application to spy on Trump campaign aide Carter Page. That hasn't been released either, even though we now have ample reason to believe the application may have been fundamentally illegitimate, based heavily on discredited partisan hearsay, the Steele dossier. Jim Comey denies this, of course. He's denied it repeatedly on his book tour. Just the other day, he noted, smiling faintly as he said it, that there's no way to check, really, because it's classified. The joke is on us, except it's not funny. Almost nobody trusts the government anymore, and that's one subject that both sides can agree on. There's only one way to fix that: sunlight. Stop hiding, stop lying, tell us what's really going on. Rod Rosenstein has no intention of doing any of that. In an interview today at the Newseum, Rosenstein compared demands for greater transparency from Congress to a mafia shakedown. Watch.
There have been people who have been making threats privately and publicly against me for quite some time. And I think they should understand by now the Department of Justice is not going to be extorted. We're going to do what's required by the rule of law, and any kind of threats that anybody makes are not going to affect the way we do our job.
Little victim. Extorted? How about accountable? Nobody elected Rod Rosenstein to anything or any of these people. They work for us, supposedly on our behalf. When they won't explain what they're doing or why they're doing it, it is a sure sign, always and everywhere, that they have begun to work against us. That's what it means. Joe Digenova is a former U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, and he joins us now. It's hard to believe that just happened, that Rod Rosenstein, about whom I was ambivalent until today, would get out there and attack the Congress, which has constitutional oversight over his department, as mafia members, in effect, for asking for what the Constitution demands they have, which is oversight.
The Deputy Attorney General today disqualified himself from continued service in the Department of Justice. Jeff Sessions now has an absolute responsibility to call him into his office, berate him for saying that constitutional oversight is extortion. That statement by a constitutional officer like Rod Rosenstein is disgraceful. It's an embarrassment to the department, but it is of a pattern of what Mr. Rosenstein has done there since he arrived. He is a careerist. He believes that the department can do no wrong and that he is going to resist calls for more information. When you realize that he appointed a special counsel, Robert Mueller, someone that he's very close to and who was very close to James Comey, to investigate no crime and put this country through 15 going on 16 months of interruption of a new president, that tells you something about Rod Rosenstein. He is resisting all of this because he created the original sin, an investigation of no crime.
I'm just confused, though. I mean, Rod Rosenstein has a gun. He has the power to arrest you or me. Lying to him is a felony. He has a lot of power. Where does he think that power comes from, if not from the Congress and the voters who elected those members of Congress?
When you are as arrogant and as deep in the belief that you have been given a duty to do whatever you think is right for the country, and when you hate the President of the United States, as I am now convinced Mr. Rosenstein does, then you believe you can do anything. And when the Attorney General...
Just because God made you all powerful or something? Like, do they not understand where the power comes from? Voters. That's the only place it comes from.
He does not understand it, because as a careerist and someone who has never left government for a minute to speak of any note, government is all he knows. And for him, the most important thing is the next job. And I can assure you the one thing he doesn't want to happen is to be held in contempt or to be impeached, because he believes himself to be something very, very special, an unaccountable bureaucrat.
So the DOJ, and there are some great people who work there, and
yes,
I know some of them,
yes.
and I spoke to one of them today, and said, why not? Why doesn't the Congress, why doesn't the public have a right to know what this is about? And this person said, well, it's an ongoing investigation. And I guess my argument would be the public's need to know what this is about supersedes that. But tell me your view.
The answer is it's not an ongoing investigation. There is no crime. They've already conceded that the president is not a target. They're asking those 49 questions that they want to ask the president, and maybe even with a grand jury subpoena, because they want to impeach the president. This has nothing to do with a criminal investigation. Donald Trump has done nothing wrong. He's conspired with no one. The reason they are threatening a subpoena, well, go ahead, please issue the subpoena, because it will be an unconstitutional subpoena, an illegal subpoena, because there is no authority under federal law to issue a subpoena to a president of the United States to get testimony from him so it can be used in an impeachment proceeding. That use of the grand jury is illegal, absolutely illegal.
This may be a debate that continues. I have the feeling. Joe Digenova, thank you for that perspective. I appreciate it. Chris Hahn joins us now. He's a lawyer and a radio